Hey, greetings, it's Fred. Thanks for joining me. What I wanted to share with you comes from Clifford and Denise, and this happened approximately 8 years ago down on it's known as Curyung Bay. It's basically on the Kenai Peninsula, down by not too far from Port Chatham and all that. So what ended up happening is they went on a halibut fishing trip with a buddy of his. They were up visiting Alaska. Well, as they were out there doing the halibut fishing, Denise got a little bit seasick, and there was a system coming in. So what ended up happening is they tucked into Curyung Bay and anchored out for a bit, and their friend said, hey, there's a trail, a hiking trail up there. It's an old trail, but if you guys want to kill time while we're waiting out the storm to go by, I can take you over, drop you off with the little dinghy boat, and you guys can hike around and beachcomb or whatever to kill time. And so they said, we'll think about it. So after about an hour, they decided to make a go of it and took him up on his offer. So we launched his little boat and took him to shore. And when they got there, they had only planned on being there 2 hours, just because they weren't sure what the weather was going to do, and just that type of thing. So his buddy gave him his shotgun and said, be aware of the bears, and kind of gave him a little tutorial. And they weren't too worried about running into a bear, because the salmon were running and they had other things to do, as far as they weren't necessarily in the area. They were at the salmon streams as far as they were concerned. But anyway, so they get dropped off at the beach, and his friend had a .22 pistol. He goes, listen, from my pistol, if you're not here when I come back, if I have to come back sooner to get you, I'll fire the .22 in the air, and you guys will know I'm here, and then you can make your way back to the beach. So they said it sounded great. Well, they get going, and they're enjoying it at first. There's enough breeze to keep the mosquitoes away. And as they were making their way up, I'll show you on the map here. Well, as they were going up, you'll see the blue dot is where the boat was anchored, and they were dropped off at the beach, and the little yellow dots are their pathway going up this side of the mountain, basically, to find this trail, this old road. And so when they get up there, they're looking around. They got a beautiful view. They're happy because they could see the storm front's gonna miss them. They were just getting some wind, and none of the rain or anything like that. So as they were sitting there enjoying the scenery, they were walking along. They were going down the trail, and everything just seemed so good. Then they weren't paying attention to bird noises or anything like that. They weren't well versed in the woods. And because they could see the boat down there, they felt relatively safe. They had a game plan as far as getting picked up. So, they weren't necessarily on edge for anything bad to happen. And so as they're going along, they go around this little bend, and as they stop, Denise stopped, and she said that she doesn't know why, but she felt like she walked into a wall of negative energy. She had to stop, and she just turned around and was talking to her husband, and they both were looking around like, well, I wonder what that is. And as they turned and panned to their left, standing about, they guesstimate about 60 feet away, there was a hairy man standing there staring at them. And it just gave them, from what they expressed, it gave them a look of, what are you doing here? Like, just a real odd look. And initially they were just kind of stuck. Freaking out, you know what I mean? Sorry, it's a little bright where I'm at right now, down on the Rogue River in Oregon. And anyway, it's like almost 80 degrees, and my native blood is on revolt, but I'll be all right. Anyway, so they see this thing, and it's looking back at them. They said the skin was really dark, almost black, but it looked greasy, and a lot of wrinkles, wide jaw. The eyes looked black from the distance they were looking at this thing. And they said when they were looking at it, it was making weird noises, like little chirps. Real odd, making these little chirps. And so they were slowly backing away at this point, because they didn't know what to make of it or what to do about it. They were kind of in a stuck position. And so they start making their way back down to where the boat picked them up, or dropped them off, I should say. Now, from what they were saying, on their way down, this thing was following them, but staying at a distance, but was there. They heard it pacing back and forth at certain points on their way down. When they're descending down the mountain to get down to the beach, they said that it was pacing beside them and would pass them and then go back up, almost like it was just going back and forth right beside them the whole time. Now, he said he had contemplated firing the gun in the air just cause to try to scare it away, but he figured, no, I'll wait till I get to the beach and I'll fire in the air to get my buddy's attention on the boat to get, picked up or whatever. So the whole time they're making their way back down, they get down, they kind of broke trail a little bit from the path they took up, so they ended up a little further away, and there were some rocks along where they couldn't get down to the beach, so they had to backtrack. And as they were doing that, they said that's when things got a little more aggressive. This thing started, after the screaming and stuff and breaking branches and pacing back and forth. They said several times it sounded like it would charge forward and then stop, then back off, and it would get quiet and then charge forward out of just random. I try to put myself in these people's shoes as far as what they're going through in those moments, because I could just imagine hearing something coming through the brush and then stopping and then dead quiet and then you hear it again. So they said it sounded like it would rush forward, make a noise, and then stop, and then would retreat silently and do it again, but always staying right out of view, making god-awful noises. So once they got down to the beach, they fired the shotgun in the air, and they sat there waiting. And when they fired the shotgun in the air, they said it let out a scream real loud and then moved away. They heard it moving up the mountain, and they assumed that it was just okay. The gunshot scared it away. They noticed their buddy over on the boat came out onto the stern and was getting in the boat, in the little dinghy, to come get them. Now, when his friend got there to pick him up, his friend was like, get in the boat, did you guys see that? So I guess from his buddy's perspective, coming back to pick them up, as they were watching for him coming to shore, their backs were turned, but this thing was behind them, and their friend said it looked like it was literally just behind them in the brush, standing there as they were looking back at him as he was coming to shore. He yells at him, get in the boat, and he has his friend, he has Denise operate the outboard, shows her how to put it in reverse, and he says, go slowly. And again, Denise and her husband aren't paying attention to what's going on behind them, right? So this guy is trying to get their attention forward, get Denise to back up the skiff, as he's keeping an eye on this thing, because they weren't paying attention. So when they did pay attention, because his friend's pointing, they all turn around and look, and it was standing literally within 20 feet behind them, and just not doing anything aggressive, but just looking, just giving them the stink eye, as it was said. And they tillered on back, and then they swapped. His friend took control of the little dinghy and zipped over the boat. They said they sat on the boat there explaining what had happened, and his friend, the operator of the boat, said, I heard something, but it was I couldn't make it out. And he said, the screams I heard, I thought it was you guys, that's why I kept coming out and looking off the stern. Then I heard the gunshot a little while later and figured I better get over there. And so I want to thank them for sharing. For a lot of people, it's very difficult when they go through something like that to come forward with it, and I appreciate those who do. Also, a shout out to Brock the Amish out there in Pennsylvania. Appreciate the phone call, man. And I want to thank you guys for joining me. It's hot. I'm out of my element a little bit down here, and I'll pan and show you guys where I'm at here. So, got the ducks down over here. I startled some ducklings out of the grass right over here. but it's hot out, so I didn't want them to get overheated, so I backed off. It's definitely a pretty place down here. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.